consciousness. This is Zarathustra broadcasting live from Tulum, Mexico. Um, Happy holidays to everybody. Hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're spending some good time, quality time with your family and friends. Personally, I'm not very much into holidays, so it's not really my thing, but I also feel the festive vibe, and I think a lot of times the holidays for some people is amazing, for some people is very depressing. So it depends what type of person you are. I think obviously I'm not in everybody's head around the world to know what they go through, but I think it's got two sides to it. So um, and maybe this is what we should talk about. I think Hilda brought it up one time to me, like, why is it so challenging to be around family and friends around the holidays, right? Is that what you said, Hilda, one time?
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. Right. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So we're going to talk about why is it challenging to be around friends and or around family, not friends, because you don't have to be around them. But when it comes to the holidays, does that resonate with anybody? Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, maybe. Okay, so we talk about that. I I I've looked into this topic a lot and thought about it a lot. And like, what is it? I mean, when you're kids, it's a complete different story. But as you're growing up and you're becoming an adult, and especially if you're single and you get used to your own solitude, and which a lot of spiritual people, a lot of people who get on this path, a part of their journey is solitude. And I don't know exactly, I mean, I can have theories about it, of why is it like this, or why existence set this up. But I mean, the most obvious answer to it to me is that it's existence creates this situation for us to reflect back inwards. And this is a journey that you go on your own, and you do have people who you may come across companions, which we do. Like here, we join in every, used to be every Tuesday, then Wednesday, now it's Thursday, and we come together, and there's a solidarity into it. Uh, and we go to these events, workshops, retreats, and then we connect and we find our like-minded family and friends. But most of us being on this path, we grew up in this path on our own. I would say 99% of the spiritual people, at least at this age, I'm not talking about the newer generations that maybe they grew up in enlightened families, or their parents were hippies or sannyasins, and they're cool, and they're encouraging their kids to go in the world of spirit. But for the rest of us who had to find our way and get to where we're at, we had to travel an alone, or you can say a lonely or a lone journey to get to where we at. And then a lot of different things happen on this journey. It's like, yeah, event in the beginning, maybe you have a partner, and you have children with your partner, um, and you got a family, and then you get separated. um, you're a single dad or single mom, and then eventually the kids grow up and the kids leave you, and we pass our prime. We're not out there in the market anymore of dating, or it's not happening for some reason. And so eventually you end up being alone. So, and this aloneness, that somehow existence sets it up. It's kind of part of our destiny or part of our path. It pushes us and forces us to reflect within, to look inside. And sometimes, no matter what you do, I mean, it doesn't matter how much you're trying to somehow reverse the process, or trying to somehow um, create a situation that you're not in this aloneness, or I mean, the aloneness is okay. It's when you feel lonely, and you're trying whatever you can to fix it and to get yourself out of that situation. And it appears to be that no matter what you do, it doesn't work. Somehow existence not cooperating and not allowing some of us to get out of it. So, and of course, technology these days creates all these different apps, dating apps, you can connect with people from all over the world over the internet. But yet, in the meantime, it's very lonely because it's digital. A lot of times, there's not much human interaction. You are sending text messages, it's messages. Maybe you're flirting with somebody or talking to somebody, but it's all digital, and you don't really get to see the person. And you just keep sending back and forth messages. And if you look at it from a different perspective, yeah, sometimes it's like, is it real? I mean, I have no idea if there's another person on the other side. It could be an AI. So so it's an interesting phenomena which is happening. And then it comes to, while this is happening, while the spiritual warrior is kind of pushed and forced into this path of being alone, and must experience, in this path of aloneness, you experience a loneliness that creeps in. And then all of, while you're in this path, and as you go more forward on your spiritual path, you become more sensitive. You become more sensitive because you're living alone. You're on your own. So you're on your own. You're going to have ideal conditions that works for you. Like, I don't know, somebody likes to sleep at night and they want music. And so they're playing some kind of soft they're playing some kind of soft music to sleep. Now, if you hook up with somebody and you're sleeping in the same bed, and then they don't want music, or maybe you like cold temperature or warm temperature, um, you get used to your own space. And you're starting getting older, and you're starting to know yourself better, and you're becoming more confident in an aspect of knowing yourself and respecting yourself and being true to your own integrity. Like, certain things you don't want to do anymore, or you don't have much tolerance for, which 10 years ago you did, or maybe you had a partner and you would put up with it, but now you don't have the patience for it. um, you don't have the tolerance for it, and also you're set on your way, and you want things to be in a certain way. and there's nothing wrong with that. you know there's no, like, there are moments like you may think there is something wrong with it, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a natural evolution of the spiritual warrior who is on this path. And their main goal, ultimate goal, it's happiness. You want to be happy. We all want to be happy. Now, we may associate this happiness with enlightenment, with God realization. Um, so you're working spirituality, you're using all these different tools, all this different knowledge, translating it to wisdom, and hoping that this wisdom you have acquired with all these tools that you've learned, it's going to direct you into a place that you're happy. Does it make sense so far? Yeah? Do you relate to that? Yeah. So now you're living on your own, you're doing your own thing, and then all of a sudden it slowly comes to a point of the holidays. And the holidays, they're kind of pretentious, in a way that it's mechanical. It's sort of, not that there's anything wrong with the holidays, okay? Holidays are holidays. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like a black day, or a white day, or whatever it is. But the problem is that we are under this pressure that we have to be happy because it's Thanksgiving, or it's Christmas, or it's New Year, or it's Labor Day, or it's 4th of July, or it's I don't know, 7th de Mai in Norway, or it's the Independence Day of such and such place, and everybody's waving the flag, or everybody's wearing red Santa Claus colors, and it's the spirit of the holidays, and you have to go do some shopping and give gifts and get together with your friends and family. And in a way, it's very nice that you come together, but in another way, it's a lot of pressure because there's this expectations that you have to be like this. And life is not that, because it could be the holidays and you're just somehow in a funk, or somehow you happen not to, you're not feeling it. Uh, Now you have to pretend like you're happy. But in ordinary days, let's say there's 15 days of holidays, or 10 days of 5 days of very important holidays that everybody wants to come together. But your sense of not being happy may happen to be during that time. If it's on an ordinary time, day, month, day of the year, you don't have to put a happy face out there for anybody, because you just don't feel happy. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you don't have to be happy every day. That's superficial. That kind of happiness with inner peace is different. They're completely different from one another. You may have discovered inner peace within yourself, and you have discovered that place, that which is very still, and it's silent, and it's content. You feel the love, you feel this self love within yourself, and you are living it. But that's different than going like this, pretending that you are happy. They're two complete different stories. And then what happens is you have been alone, you've been working on yourself, you're looking at yourself. And a part of this journey is to look at your dark side, look at your hangups, look at your jealousy, your judgment, your sense of loneliness. You look at your shortcomings, because you're going to workshops, you're doing therapy, you're reading self-reflection books, you're hanging out with teachers, gurus, you're coming online, you're working on yourself. The rest of the society, or let's say your family, they're not working on themselves. That's the story, and I'm generalizing it, right? But I'm saying just in general. This is like a general thing, or at least maybe I can be more specific and speak about myself. Like, okay, my own experience is like, okay, my family, which I think a lot of you will relate, they're not working on themselves. They have no idea of self awakening, self realization, reflection. So you are doing this work and you are alone. Most of us on this path, you may even have a partner, but let's say your partner is in the world and does worldly stuff. Maybe you have a deep love and connection together, you live together, you're under the same roof, but your partner is in the world and you are doing spiritual work. So even though you're living under the same roof, you have love for each other, but you are still lonely. You're still alone because your partner doesn't understand your process. Somehow, normally they break apart, but let's say you don't. There are couples that the one who's not on spiritual path loves his wife, or wife loves her husband so much that they they have the connection, they stay together, they don't separate, but they both do their own thing. And the thing for the person who's doing spiritual work is they're on this path on their own, and they can't share it with the person who they're living under the same roof. So now it comes to Christmas. I mean, I talk about the US. Okay, it comes to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, like everybody has to get together. So there's this person living in Los Angeles and living alone. Now they have to fly back to Boston and to wherever and spend like 4 days, 3, 4 days with their family. And all of a sudden, their sister, their brother, their kids, mom, dad, everybody's there, but you're not used to living with them. Now you're under the same roof for 4 or 5 days. You're not used to just being with them all the time. And then it starts driving you crazy. And you start getting really irritated. They may not feel that way. I mean, the way you do, because their level of consciousness is different. Maybe the parents are really happy they're having all the kids together and they're doing their thing. It's Thanksgiving and there's a big football game is happening in the US and everybody's sitting there cheering. You eat a lot of food, you're just like really bloated. Uh, and yeah, for a day, maybe you can handle it, or maybe for 2 days. But now all you're thinking about is, when am I going to get out of here? How can I get out of here? And then comes the next one, which is Christmas. I'm talking about US, because I don't think you don't have Thanksgiving in Europe. Now it comes Christmas. And again, all this pressure that you have to buy all these gifts, first of all, it's commercial. And of course, it's been created by, uh, there's been a tradition of giving each other something, but then the big corporations, they started using it big time, and creating all this other stuff, like Valentine's Day, like in February, what is it, 14 or 15? You know the Valentine's Day? Do you have it there in Europe? Sort of, they're bringing it, right? Same as Halloween got imported to Europe and the rest of the world from the US. Uh, Mother's Day, Father's Day, they created these days, and they're commercial because it's a big money making day. And also, it puts a lot of pressure. Like, I think I've only gone on a date on Valentine's Day only one time in my life. Only one time. I just don't like the whole thing. Even though if I'm in a relationship with someone, I don't feel like I need to go somewhere. I mean, we can stay home and cook together or go do something fun. Uh, it's just that pressure and that hype of, or even birthday, your birthday. Like this year, my birthday, I didn't go anywhere. I was just quiet. The entire day, I stayed home. I didn't call anyone. I didn't feel like talking to anybody. I didn't feel it. It wasn't there. And it's like, I'm not I remember people were calling me like, are you excited? Are you da, 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 da? I was like, not really. I'm not excited, you know? And and I remember I told one of my friends who's a sweetheart, a very good friend, wife of one of my good friends. I said, listen, I am not a robot, and I'm not going to act like, I'm not going to be saying, so excited, it's my birthday, well, I don't feel it. But there may be 200 other days or nights that I'm feeling this way, and I want to party, or I want to drink, or I want to be loud, or be silly or stupid or festive or whatever. But on this day, I'm not feeling it. And that is this whole thing that we're talking about, is comes to your level of consciousness, your understanding of yourself, and understanding that, and becoming comfortable with yourself, not feeling guilty about, okay, I don't really feel like celebrating. I don't feel like smiling today. I don't feel like I have to be nice to anyone. It doesn't mean that you're an asshole. It doesn't mean like you don't care. It's just you're simply not feeling it. And that's really important for us to realize that and be honest to ourselves. And of course, it's difficult to make your family understand it, because their reaction is robotic. So they're going to be robots. Okay, so it's Christmas and we all have to be happy, or it's New Year, we all have to be happy. It's my birthday, I have to be happy. It's Thanksgiving, I have to be happy, or whatever. And then you have to fly from this town to that town. It's super busy. You got to go to the malls and do some shopping. Um, you don't feel like it. Maybe you don't have enough money to do it. You don't have the energy for it. You're not excited about it. There's a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of family breakups happen during these holidays, or a lot of agitations happen. A lot of people I've talked to, they go on a Thanksgiving or on a Christmas meeting staying with their family. Maybe twice a year they go and see their parents, living with them or being under the same roof with their siblings, but they just hate it. And they can't wait till it's over and get out. So that's, I think, summarized most of it. Is somebody, I like to hear your comments and see what you have to say. Yeah, it's basically, as far as I'm concerned, it's a robotic reaction, uh, and if you don't do it, there's something wrong with you. But personally, I don't want to celebrate when I don't feel it. I don't want to act I'm happy if I'm not happy, because I'm not happy every day. Some days I'm sad. Some days I'm not in a mood. I'm not a machine. It's not like it's a machine and it has to be positive and happy and up. Yeah, some days your body doesn't feel good. Maybe you didn't eat something good. You didn't sleep well the night before. Maybe you drank a little bit too much. Maybe, I don't know. Um, Whatever it is, it's just, it's good to be natural. It's good to be yourself and to accept yourself for the way you are. Yeah, you can. It's good to be sensitive to our family and friends. You don't have to be an asshole, but you don't have to pretend you're something else that you're not. And I know sometimes it's very difficult because, okay, if you tell your mom, like, Mom, I don't feel it, I don't feel happy. Oh, what's wrong with you, honey? What's wrong with you? And a lot of family friends immediately they want to consult you, or they want to come with a solution that to make you happy. But I don't want to be happy today. I want to be sad. And what's wrong with being sad? I want to be in my own space. I want to just, you know, whatever that is. Maybe I got something on my mind and I need time to look into it. I don't want to just like a monkey jump up and down and pretend. So, anybody has any comments? You want to share anything with me on this topic?
I try to to explain it in English. Um, there's one thing that adds when we meet our family. It feels, for me, it feels that they want to pull me back from where I came.
Right.
And this makes angry, and this makes feel guilty. These both things.
Yes. Yeah. As I mentioned, there's a lot of pressure
Yeah.
of you have to be like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you have to be like them, or you have to be like the image they have of you, of what you used to be. So, like what you said, they want to pull you back to who you were.
Mm-hmm.
And it's impossible because you're not that person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even the person you were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I can live since a few years the opposite of all you told us. But I know this. I'm from a very, very big family.
Uh-huh.
On Christmas, we often we were more than 20 person.
Uh-huh.
And the one wants this, the other wants this. It was crazy.
Yeah.
One night was the rest, and then I said I must go. And now, for my family, there's only one sister. She's far away, and I break with her. The rest is dead.
Right.
So I have Andreas, and I have my son,
right.
nearly 40 years old, and we said we do only this what we want to do on
Right.
Christmas, on birthday. If you want to be together, we are together. If it's not on Christmas on the 24th, it's on 22nd.
Right.
Or 26th. So we feel much more love when we are together.
Yes.
And now this year we are alone because they both are my son and his beloved, because they have corona.
Right.
Heavy corona, they are in bed and we are alone.
Yes.
And it's okay. It's really okay.
Yes. Yes.
And it's nice to feel free to do that. What the heart says, do this.
Yes. Yes.
It's a present for me that I can do this.
I 100% agree with you. And I hear you. Andrea, can I read the message you sent? You texted me for everybody? Yeah? Okay. It helps to remember that they are not bad, but just on a different path, in a different state. Remembering this helps to not feel bad for myself, but just different. And I have nothing to prove or to pretend. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, Andrea, you're absolutely right. They are who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, a lot of us on this planet, we are operating based on our conditioning, because it's our genetics, it's our family conditioning, and it's cultural conditioning, religious conditioning, your race conditioning. They're all there. And yeah, we're not talking, yeah, they are who they are. But we have changed. I mean, they changed too, but you have a different perspective because you see things from a different place. And because you worked on yourself so much, and you have freed yourself from this robotic behavior. And of course, we all had to go through it and learn things. Especially, I would say, a lot of parents or single moms, right now there's a big movement around the world that, being a single mom is cool, or especially in the Western world, a lot of women, they just want to have a child and they don't care about the male partner, but they want to have a child. Fine, that's what's going on. And they're single mom, right? You know, this is kind of happening right now. But a lot of single mom, after being a mom, after a few years, if you go back, they say, oh, what the hell did I do? Can I send this one back? It's kind of like, you know, what happened to my 30-day guarantee warranty from Amazon? Can I put the child back in the box and send it back? What I mean is, let me explain to you what I mean, so you know, before you get upset or before you get the wrong impression. What I mean is, a lot of parents, a lot of people I've talked to, this is not, and I ask them, you know, they had a child for a few years, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And I ask them, look, had you know what you knew today, would you have a child? And honestly, 90% of the time, the answer has been no. That a lot of the people I've asked them, they would say, no, if I don't even know why I did it. I had no idea. Everybody else does it, and I thought I should do it. But then they just like, it hits them like, wait a minute, I wasn't fit to be a parent. I had no idea. It's like I was hypnotized, and since everybody else is doing it, I did it. And now, you know, I regret it. I mean, a lot of parents, they feel guilty to come and say, hey, I regret having my child, because of course they love their child, but there's also a lot of guilt coming with it because it's a lot of work, especially in today's society, that we're not the tribal communal life is destroyed. So you're isolated. You don't have the grandparents anymore. You don't have the aunts and uncles and the family support of a tribe. Unless you live in small towns, you live in villages, you live in suburbs where you grew up with your family and you have support. But if you're a single mom or single dad, or just mom and dad with one child living in a city without support, it's a lot of work. It's very, very difficult. Of course, you can have kids and leave them in daycare, but if you're very caring and you really want to spend time with your child or children, it requires a lot of sacrifice and dedication in today's world because it's difficult. You don't have support. That support system is gone. And it's been replaced by daycares or by nannies. So naturally, if you're a 35-year-old woman and you know you're in your prime, you're beautiful, you're blossoming, and now you're stuck with a kid, and you're still discovering yourself, because you're at the time in your life of discovering, because 35 is nothing, or 30, or even 38. There's a lot to learn about yourself. There's a lot to learn about the world. So you are tending to a child, you're babysitting a child while you are yourself going through these strong spiritual changes and revelations and self-realization, while you're trying to work, you're trying to take care of your child, and in the meantime you're going through this inner revolution. That's a lot of pressure on the person. It's very, very difficult. And kudos to those parents who do it, and they're attentive. I just want to say congratulations. And some, they crack, they break apart, or they abandon the child, or abandon the marriage, or whatever. It's not easy. It's a tough thing to do. So the bottom line is, don't feel guilty if you're not digging, spending time with your family or kin, or because of the holiday, or if you do, and it's kind of, you're not really enjoying it, but you're just doing it because you're supposed to. um, don't beat yourself up. uh, if you have to go through the motions, then you have to go through the motions. you know Sometimes you have to do a fake smile, sometimes you have to act like you're happy. Sometimes the situation, it's like if you had a beer, or let's say you had a gin and tonic, you're not drunk, okay, and you're driving your car, and the police, somehow police pulls you over, but you're totally capable of driving. You're not, you just had a gin and tonic. That didn't make you drunk. I know you're not supposed to drink and drive. I understand that. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not telling you to break the law. Okay? I'm not suggesting these things. But I'm just talking about the reality of life, right? And you get pulled over. And then the police officer is it's cool. It comes to you, asks for your driver license. They ask you, do you know why I pulled you over? And you say no, and say, oh, your lights don't work, or you were going 5 miles faster over the speed limit. And they may ask you, if it's evening, they may ask you, you know, have you been drinking? And you say no, and you get away. So you lied, and you get away with it. So, or let's say your mom went and did her hair, and they overdid it, and the hair looks like shit. Like they married their blonde, and they did it too much, and they cut it too short, and it's Christmas or whatever, and your mom comes to you and says, oh, Elijah, how do I look? Or Marit, how do I look? Or Renetta, how do I look? You're not going to say, Mom, you look like shit. You're going to say, Mom, you look great. Okay, you're lying. But situation requires that. Because you would be an asshole if you tell your mom, you look like shit. I find that more unconscious. Oh, I want to be honest to myself. Yeah, but you're breaking her heart. Just tell her you look great, Mom. You only see her twice a year, or a few times a year. You just say, Mom, you look great. You also look great the other way, but you're not going to break her heart. And yeah, the cop pulls you over and says, did you have a drink? And you may say no, because if you say yes, you lose your driver license for 1 year. I'm not telling you what to say, but sometimes the situation requires you to lie. or you had your Christmas um, dinner with the whole family, and your uncle turns around and says, "Oh, Renetta, how are you doing?" You're not going to say, "Oh, I've been so depressed and I'm going to this process that I am dealing with my demons, or I'm financially really down." I'm not talking about you, Renata. I'm just saying in general. I don't know. Zarathustra, how are you doing? And I'm going through my process. If I tell my uncle in that moment, like I'm going through these things on a Christmas Eve, Christmas dinner, now I'm going to be getting a long lecture for hours of how I should be, which if I just lie and say, "Oh, I'm great, thank you," and then it's a done deal. I don't have to deal with it. It's like for me, let's say my mother, I talk to my mom, and then if she asks me like, "How are you doing?" If I tell her like, "Oh, mom, I fell down and I hurt my hip or something with my knee," this is like the end of the world. Every 2 hours, I'm going to get a phone call from her. She's going to make my brother call me. She's going to make my brother's wife call me. She's going to get my brother's son call me. She's going to get my other nephew call me. It's like the nightmare you have to deal with over telling the truth is not worth it. It's better lie and say, "Oh, I'm fine. Everything is good." Because the pressure you're going to be getting from, it depends on the mom and dad. Some people are not like that. But, the amount of phone calls and text and care, unnecessarily care, is going to create so much stress for you that hip is not going to get healed. Because every 1 hour, you got a worried mother calling you, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Oh my God, Jesus, I just fell down and hurt my hip. So fucking what? Shit happens to everyone. So sometimes you have to lie. that's, that's how it is.
That's family. That is family. The love of a family.
Yeah, it's just, and the thing is, again, they're operating from this unconscious place that they're not even aware of it. This dramatizing everything, and extra caring. I mean, it's not like they're not caring, but it's over the top. It's too much. In a way, they're also responsible for you lying, because they push you so much that it's better to lie than getting bugged and being disturbed every couple hours, calling you and checking on you. Anybody has any comments? Anything to share? On that note, I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's nice seeing you all. Yeah. Have a safe one, whatever you do, wherever you go.
You too.
Well, thank
Same
you.
for
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You too.
my friends invited me to a. That's what I love about this type of communal living here with my friends is like one of them is hosting Christmas Day potluck, and yeah, I'm under no obligation to go or not go. I mean, they invited me, and of course I have all the intention to go and cook some food and go, but it's not mandatory. You know, it's different than being with your family. With the family is like
Yes.
there's a pressure. Here is like no pressure. If I don't go, I don't go. If I go, I go. And of course, everybody else in the group is the same way because we're all like, nobody's here with their family. They're all individually here. So we all come together and because we want to, and it's a lot of fun. It's very, very chilled.
True. Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and if somebody's annoying you, talking to you, you just simply ignore them and go talk to somebody else. You're not stuck with them. But with your family, you're stuck. It's it's part of your destiny. It's not like I bet most of us, if right now they give you a choice of choosing your family, okay, and you have a choice what family you're going to be born into, and you can choose your dad, your mom, your brother, sister, the country, da 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 da. I would say most of us would not choose the parents we were born with.
Mm-hmm.
That's my estimation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. Of course, some of us love our parents, love of our siblings. We wouldn't change it for anything. But I remember like 10, 15, or 20 years ago when I was younger and I was more under the influence of my family, it was like, who are these people? How was I born into this family? I mean, don't take me wrong. They gave me a lot of love and care. I wasn't, uh, you know, it can be a complete different story from the horror stories I hear from different people. I was very lucky. But
Good.
in general, I think a lot of us, if we were given a choice, yeah, we can say, yeah, on an unconscious level and, in the etheric world before we were born, we chose this family and yada, 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 yada. That's a different story. I don't want to get into that. But on a aware way, this way, I would say maybe a lot of us would have chosen differently.
Mm.
I'm assuming. I may be wrong. I don't know.
Thank you very much. No. Mm-hmm.
So it's nice seeing you all.
Will you be at the academy next week?
Next week, I need to look into my calendar. What is next week? What day is that? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I have to see what's happening. If not, the following week after the New Year, for sure.
Then they can talk about how we coped with the family and stuff. Then
I think one conversation was enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all got it. So my social media pages are Zarathustra 5D. If you are viewing this on Instagram, You're welcome. I appreciate your comments, and I thank you for sharing these videos. If you're watching it on other channels on YouTube or Facebook, we look forward to hear your comment. What do you think about it? And don't forget, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. My website is zarathustra.tv, and I do look forward to connecting with you soon. Sending you lots of love and light. Namaste.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to all of you.
Have authentic days.
Thank you. Thank you. Much love. Thanks for joining. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.